All right, everybody, welcome back to Heath Barn Hoopcast. I am your host, John Stephen Heath. This is episode 9, and it is with the second all-time leading scorer for the Illinois men's basketball, Kiwane Garris. It's a great episode. Kiwane talks about growing up in Chicago, his surprisingly late start playing basketball, but how quickly he loved it once he started playing it. Like a lot of these episodes, great recruiting stories, great stories about coaches coming to Chicago to see him play and talk to him and things like that. But he talks about, playing for Illinois, obviously, talks about his relationship with Lou, talks about his teammates a lot, tells good stories about his teammates, also talks about, tells a really good Lou story as well, but his relationship with Lou, like I said, he discusses that quite a bit. He talks about that transition from his junior year to senior year, going from Coach Henson to Coach Kruger coming in. And it's a lot of great stuff from his Illinois days. And then he gets into, he played overseas, but he also played in the NBA for a little while. So he talks about that, tells very, very good stories about the NBA, playing overseas. His son is very successful. He's a senior in high school, so he talks about him some. We discuss what he's up to now, and towards the end of the episode, it's great because he, I don't want to give it away, but I can just tell you, he tells stories about being an official now. So he tells some reffing stories, which is great because we get to talk about being a player and be on the other side of it being a ref. So that was great stuff as well. So want to thank Kiwane for coming on. Again, great episode, so I hope you guys enjoy it. And here we go. I'm here with Kiwane Garris. He is the second leading scorer in Illinois men's history. Kiwane, thanks a lot for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Kiwane Garris. I actually started later than a lot of other kids. I started when I was 13 playing basketball. My first love was baseball. Played that for about 3 years before I ended up getting into basketball during my 8th grade year, going into the summer before high school. Started off playing with a team called a travel team called Georgetown Hoyas. That's a funny story because I got on that team because one of my friends, I ended up going to like a tournament with him on the weekend, and they ended up not having enough players, and so the coach came over and asked me did I wanted to play, and I was like, yeah. Before that, I was playing just on the playgrounds and, practicing and doing little shots here and there and practicing and doing a lot of stuff before that. But when I got into the game, it came natural to me because I was a just natural athlete at the time. So played the game.
How old were you when on that travel team?
Yeah, I was 13.
So you just started picking up a basketball and playing.
Yeah.
So you took to it pretty good once you started, then, huh?
Yeah. After that first tournament, I really loved it. So what I started doing was just trying to play it every day, going outside because it was a court across the street from my house. And so I just go over there by myself a little bit, try to get some shots up, do some little moves, if I saw some moves on TV from watching a NBA game or something like that, I'd just go over there and try the moves. And then when we had games with the travel team, I just try those moves in the game.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's one thing that don't you think young kids need to hear a lot? What you just said, if you said you went over there every day, and that's what kids need to understand. If you need to put in so much time if you want to get to where you want to get, and a lot of kids just think that it's basketball season, and once basketball season's over, then you're, but the off season and playing every day, that's exactly what you have to do to get to where you want to get. Don't you think?
Yeah. I think kids today are fortunate, man. They got a lot of access to a lot of things and to make them better. And I think they don't take advantage of it. We had to go the hard route, going outside, going to play like in different parks, trying to make a name for yourself. It wasn't nobody sitting around saying, "No, we gonna rank you this, and that." It was just like, "All right, I'm going to this neighborhood. I'm gonna play 5-on-5. We'll take a 5 or whatever it was, and we'll play, and then you get your respect that way." It was also going to the outside courts a lot to get your shots up. And if anybody played outside, they know how hard it is trying to shoot that basketball inside them hoops.
Yeah.
Especially when I think we had like double rims across the street from my house. So it was definitely hard shooting them boys. If that basketball had a lot of air in it, it was coming out of there.
Right. A lot of long rebounds on those double rims. But thing is, though, man, I'm just a little bit younger than you, and I miss that kind of stuff. Like, just having to just, like you said, just getting 5 and just going somewhere and playing, and just playing ball and playing at the park or playing wherever, and then those rims like that. I mean, those will turn you into a good shooter because it's got to be a swish or it's not going to go in. So it's like, yeah, it was those days are. I wish that kids still did that more, but it's still around a little bit. But you mentioned baseball. How good were you at baseball before you decided you're just going to play basketball?
You know what? I was actually good, man. I played second base. My batting average was good. I was batting like 295, 300. I was like the second best on the team. So pretty good base runner. So I was pretty good, man. I ended up doing like workouts when I got to high school too for a couple teams when I got to high school. Yeah. I said I was gonna play when I played, but I was just like, nah, I ain't gonna play. I'm just gonna focus on basketball. So I did a lot of focusing on basketball. I still was going to the batting cages and doing little stuff here and there, playing like softball and all that stuff. But I was just focused a lot on basketball.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe for people that don't quite understand, or people from smaller towns that don't know how this works exactly, like when you're at Chicago, like growing up in Chicago, what determines where, like we didn't talk about middle school or anything, but like once you get to high school, like you go to Westinghouse, so what determines if you go to Farragut or Simeon or King or Westinghouse, like for people that may not know how all that works?
So the area you live in is almost like so I live in Georgia now, so you got to be living in the district, and whatever district you're in or county or whatever, that's the school you go to. So for me, my mom was living close to Westinghouse. But I was living with my auntie at the time. So we didn't have middle school in Chicago. They was in the outskirts, like in the suburbs, but we didn't have middle school. We just had elementary school that was K through 8th grade. And gotcha. So I was living with my auntie at the time. But when I moved back in with my mom, that determined me going to Westinghouse. I was supposed to go to Farragut at first with some of my friends that I played with during the summertime. We had a good team, and so I just wanted to start staying with my mom because my early days, she wasn't around, and so she was starting to change over a new leaf, and so I was just like, let me go stay with her and be around her a little bit more, and so I ended up doing that, and then that's what led me to going to the Powerhouse or Westinghouse.
Gotcha. Now, Farragut at that time, Ronnie Fields is several years younger than you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna throw out like this. I might edit this out because this is about me, but I have this memory of you. There was this super soft camp in Rantoul in like 1994 or something like that, and you and I feel like Robert Bennett,
yeah,
and one of the football players went there to judge a dunk contest that Ronnie Fields was in. And I don't know, you probably don't remember that, but Ronnie Fields, he was like a sophomore in high school, and you guys, everybody thought it was so awesome because Illinois players were coming down to judge this dunk contest, but it was in Rantoul, and I was actually in that tournament, and I was on the same team as Ronnie Fields, so that's like my career highlight. I got to be on the same team as him for like a weekend, so yeah. But
oh yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, Ronnie Fields was a highlight, man. It was just you just was unbelievable what he can do and how high he can jump and how hard he played. He was a gifted athlete, and just I got a chance to play against him in high school. He was a freshman. I think I was a junior. They actually let him play on the varsity team. We played them twice in the season, and then we played them again in like the playoffs. Unfortunately, we had to beat them down, but that's when I really started growing to like really admire his game. And so we actually ended up playing them again because they we was all in the same division at the time. It was called the Red West Division, which was on the west side. And
okay, so who all was in that then? Besides you guys and Farragut?
Yeah, so you had like Westinghouse, Farragut, Marshall. You had Crane. You had Lincoln Park. Who else was in that? Whitney Young.
Gotcha.
So there was a lot of good teams, a lot of good high school teams in there, and
yeah.
that's what made it so powerful, man. That you was able to play against all these good high school teams, but also good players.
Yeah.
And then you also got your name through that. So it was just a time. In that time, man, like 89 and 93, it was just making a name for yourself and getting better and trying to be one of the best to come out of Chicago.
Right. We're talking about high school. Do you have any like a game or a moment or anything like that kind of sticks out in your mind in high school, and maybe talk about how far you guys made it or how successful your high school teams were?
Yeah, majority, like I know a lot of kids like to be like, man, I scored 40 on this one team or 50 on this other team. But I think some of my highlights were some of the losses we had. I remember my sophomore year, and everybody can attest to this if they've seen the movie Hoop Dreams. Like Marshall was one of our rivals. And so, I got a chance to play against Arthur Agee and that Marshall team, and they was really, really good. And what I remember is, that was my sophomore year. That was their senior year. And so I'm like, looking like, man, this is crazy, man. Like, I'm getting a chance to play against all these good players. And what stuck out to me was we ended up making it to the city championship. Because at the time, you had to win the city championship to go down state from the city teams. And so you had to go through this long road to get down state from the city.
Right.
And we ended up meeting in the city championship game. And when I tell you, man, I had one of the worst games I ever had in my life. I had 2 points, and we weren't clicking that day, man. As a team, we just wasn't clicking. And so they ended up winning and going downstate and going third place. So I used that as motivation for the next year, which we had a great year, because then we ended up my junior year beating King for the city championship, and then going downstate and taking third place. We ended up beating like Rashad Griffin and Thomas Hamilton and them.
Oh yeah.
Twin Towers, man. That's a tough matchup, trying to beat them when our tallest guy was like 6'5".
Right.
Sitting in there.
So then, how much older were you? How much older were you than Griffith and Hamilton? Like,
we all the same age.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking they were. Yeah. Oh, I remember that. Yeah, they were. I just remember thinking the game's so much different now, but I remember seeing them play in a tournament, and like Thomas Hamilton's out there like shooting threes. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, get your big butt under the basket. Like, what do you do? You know? But yeah, him and Griffith, they were something else. Yeah, I just watching them in person, they were. I don't know, what were they, 6'11", 7'1", or 7'7", somewhere in there. I mean, it was.
Yeah, they were 7-footers for sure.
Yeah.
What people don't understand was, how they talk about how Anthony Davis was a point guard at one point, and then over the summer he grew to be like 6'9", 6'10".
Mhm.
Well, the same thing. That's the same thing happened to Thomas, man. Thomas was playing a guard at one point. That's why he was able to, dribble the ball, shoot, and do so much at his size. And man, over one summer, that man came back. I think he went down south and came back. Man, he was like 7 feet.
Yeah.
So it was amazing to see, because you like, man, how you get this tall over one summer?
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, and, you'd think it'd make him like a real lose some of his coordination and everything, but it didn't.
Yeah, but nope, not at all.
Yeah.
And so, I had a good high school career, man. We ended up going to the city championship 3 times, winning it once, lost twice. We ended up losing to Rashad and Thomas my senior year, our senior year rather. But them losses, man, when you lose and you got that bitter taste, man, you just want to work that much harder to get to where you want to get to. So.
Right. Yeah. So you made it down to Assembly Hall, was called at the time, obviously, the State Farm Center. Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you think of that at the time?
Assembly Hall, man, just getting down there. You always seen it on TV, man. It was like, man, I can't wait to get there, or hopefully we make it downstate and stuff like that. And then watching Flying Illini run around that boy all the time, looking at them, was like, man. So my junior year, we get down there and get on campus and walk around, and it's like, oh, okay, this is what campus life is all about.
Mm-hmm.
And so just being able to get down there and play in Assembly Hall and say, man, this might be one place I might want to play when I get to college, was like almost like a dream, like a fantasy.
Yeah.
That I had, being able to get down there and play.
Yeah. Let's maybe get into when did you start hearing from colleges? Like what year? Do you remember how old you were? What year you were in school or anything? When you kind of started getting some interest from colleges?
Yeah. So back then, you know, they got like a million camps around here now. So, but the main camp was the Nike camp, and that's where they call it a Nike All-American camp, and they got 150 of the best players around the country come and play, and you know, you go through these classes and all that stuff. So my sophomore year, I ended up going down there after the sophomore year, summer before my junior year. We went down there for a week, and that's when all the buzz and hearing from coaches and all that stuff started. So I actually started hearing from a lot of Big Ten schools at the time, and then gradually hearing from like Big East, ACC, Pac-12, all them teams started coming around at that time as well. So it was a great place to go, great place to you know, bond and build relationships and stuff like that. And so when I played in that, you had to bring your A game to that, because you're getting all the best talent from everywhere.
Okay, so you had to get invited to that camp, right?
Yep, got to get invited.
And that was after your sophomore year, right?
Yep.
And you didn't even start playing until you were 13?
Yep.
Man.
Yeah, the reason why I think a lot of that stuff was going the way it was going is because I didn't stop. And once I started playing it, I didn't stop. Like, I played it every day, every weekend. Somebody would be like, man, we playing on the weekends at such and such park. And I'll be like, all right, what time? I'll be there. It was easy to get to places because we had the transportation there, like the bus and trains and stuff. So we just took that. It'll be like three of us. And we'll just be like, all right, we going over here to play. They play at this time. And then after we leave there, we'll get something to eat and then go somewhere else.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
It was always basketball. It was always something to do. It was always a game or a tournament or somebody playing somewhere.
Yeah.
That's how basketball was thought of back then. It was always somewhere to go. It was never a place where never a day where it was like, ain't nobody doing ain't no games today, ain't no basketball today. Nah, every day. Even if we was going to the Boys and Girls Club, YMCA, it was something. So you had places to go.
Yeah, you just got to be a gym rat. I mean, yeah. On a much lower level, like, I mean, that's how it was from little towns in East Central Illinois. But like you're right. Back then, we'd go to other towns just looking for games, and there was always something. Everybody's always playing somewhere. You know. Yeah. All right. Well, do you have any like I kind of like listening to recruiting stories and things like that. Do you have anything that kind of enters your mind? And did you I guess, like, did you take any official visits to anywhere? You got any kind of cool stories from any of that? Things that you're comfortable sharing, I guess, but, you know.
Yeah. Nah, what I thought was cool, man, was just a lot of being recruited by some of the top coaches, man, like Bobby Knight and Gene Cady and he coached at the time, and those guys, you know, like Jim Boeheim and stuff like that. Like, you always seen them on TV, but they was in your backyard. They come to the gym, come watch you practice. Then you get a chance to sit down with them, talk, and get a feel of the recruiting process. You know, it ain't like man, I be telling my son all the time, man, because he played basketball. He's a senior now.
Yeah, he's doing great too.
Yeah. Doing really, really good, man. So proud of them. And so I was telling him, I said, boy, you know, if we had all this stuff back then, you know how many people would be in college and going to play pro from around my way? It'd be so easy for them to get them scholarships.
Mhm.
I said, if you weren't being seen or going to no big time tournaments, then you weren't really getting recruited, and you had like people that like word of mouth saying stuff about you as well. That's why I was going everywhere. So I had, you know, Bobby Knight come in, Jim Boeheim come in, and they coming to the west side of Chicago. And
Mhm.
I'm like, man, y'all really, really want me to come to y'all school? I'm like, okay. I
Yeah.
said, 'cause if you stepping in here and you took a flight, drove in, however you got in there, like Tom Izzo, man, like one of the coolest guys I ever met as a recruiter. You know, recruiting me like, yo, we want you at Michigan State. Like that was crazy. But
Yeah.
then you got Jimmy Collins and Lou Henson coming into my lunchroom, and then all the kids looking like, wow, that's Coach Henson.
Yeah.
That's Lou dude. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like,
Yeah.
yo, like
That's
crazy.
that's when he had a little clout because he's coming off that Flying Illini group. So you know he.
Right.
You
Right.
know. Well, did so those guys came to you. What was okay? Oh, I was going to say. So Izzo was under Heath Coach at the time, and he was so he was his main recruiter. Yeah. Okay.
He was the main recruiter.
Yeah. Gotcha. And then was Weber like the main recruiter for Katie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I wondered, but so out all those guys, I mean, okay, like I'm just going to pick one here. Like, what's Bobby Knight saying to you to try to get you to go to Indiana?
Just throwing down the history and
Yeah.
you know, I was being compared to Isaiah Thomas as well, so it was like, you know, Isaiah came in and played for me, and you know, you could probably do the same thing, and you know, you'll be a great fit for our program. And I'm like, man, dude, he come in here like,
Yeah.
I can go play for Indiana and be like Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I had Bruce Douglas on here, and he was talking about Bobby Knight, you know, and that was right, and Bruce was like right off the heels of Isaiah, kind of, you know, and
Yeah.
and it was the same kind of deal. He's like, you know, he wanted Bruce as the point guard, and I'm sure, and like just like he wanted you, you know, and he used the Isaiah with both you guys, you know, which is smart, you know, because yeah, but okay, so did you take any visits anywhere, or did they all just come to you?
Yeah, I took a couple, man. I just took a couple because at the time I only thought about a couple places. I thought about Syracuse because when I watched them and Derek Coleman and Sherman Douglas and all them playing up there, I'm looking at them like, shit, they having too much fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then brought me back to the Fighting Illini where they was having fun, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I'm thinking about Indiana because that's how the Westinghouse program was brought up, you know, hard nosed, play hard, in shape, you know, doing little stuff like that. So I was thinking about Michigan State at the time as well, Michigan, and then that was it. So I took a couple visits to all them places, and then I made a decision.
Yes. It's funny too. Like another guy I just recently had, I was Marcus Liberty, and he said that he was real close to going to Syracuse too. Like and talking about how Boeheim, was trying to sell him on the program, things like that, and then he said like he verbally committed to him, and then like hit Sonny Cox on the phone and said, "No, you're not. Like, get your butt back here so we can talk about it."
Right.
He said he verbally committed without even telling anybody when he went down there, and they were like, "Hey, hang on, you're not, don't." They like people were calling him like, "Don't be signing anything. Like, fly back home and let's talk about it." But so yeah, it's funny. It's funny how when you're young and they're all just making you feel so good about yourself, you just want to go to all of them. It's just like you don't want to tell anybody no. But,
Right.
yeah. All right. So when you go to, was it Jimmy Collins that really helped you kind of make that decision easier to go to Illinois, or was that a place? Was it a place that you always felt like it's kind of like your number one, and you just kind of wanted to see the other places just to make sure?
I think Illinois was my number one. Pretty much thought I was gonna go there. But it always helped to hear from like the main assistant that's recruiting and doing stuff to keep your mind at ease and know that that's gonna be the right place for you at the right time.
Yeah. Well, let's say whenever you do get there. One other thing I was going to ask you too before we got into college stuff is like, were you always did you always run the point? Did you ever play off the ball at all, or were you just like once you started playing, you were the point guard?
Well, I was actually just all over the place. Just because at the time we was actually what people don't understand is we was actually playing a positionless basketball back then.
Right.
We had a whole bunch of guards, but we played like we was big men. So it was just like, all right, we playing against Thomas Hamilton them tonight. All right, I got to box this big boy out. He ain't getting the rebound, and I'm not getting the rebound. So we boxing them out, and we gone running down the court. Pass, layup, pass, shot. We was just like that, pressing the whole time because we were small. So it was always, anytime we pressed, it was over with. We just pressed every time.
Right.
Some of the teams when we was coming to their gym, they be like, man, when we was thinking about playing against y'all, man, all we could think about is they pressing as soon as they get off the bus. You already know that's what we doing. That's what we gonna stick to. We never got out of our game plan. We always, if we want this, what we wanted to do, that's what we was gonna do. We never thought about the other team. So,
we're not adjusting in you. You're gonna adjust us.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
That type of basketball.
Yeah. As a point guard, though, if you were going to talk to, you said your son's really, really good and everything, but like if you're going to talk to like some younger kids, like maybe junior high, something like that, like point guards, what to you, like, you don't have to spend too much time on this, like the three most important traits for like a good young point guard? Like, what's a point guard need in your opinion?
Point guard, three things. One, you got to be able to get everybody involved.
Yeah.
Never always thinking about yourself, always thinking about how you can get players involved and learning and knowing each one of your teammates and what they do best. Two, I would always tell point guards to pick up full court. You want to be a leader on the defensive end because it starts with them. You guarding the guy with the ball. And so if you can put pressure on that ball and make that a point guard do something different than what they want to do, it helps the defense out. And 3, always be vocal.
Yeah.
If you see something wrong, you see one of your teammates not in it, go up to them, encourage them. Don't yell at them, encourage them. We know sometimes they're always, as point guards, you're gonna get emotional. Some stuff not go your way, but if you can stay calm and keep your players, your teammates calm at the same time, you'd be that much better off, and your team will be successful.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. I agree with all that. I coach junior high, and I picture my little point guard right now, and that's like it's really good advice. Really good advice for her. But, okay, so let's say now we're rolling into Illinois here. What when you start playing and you get there on campus and you start playing with everybody, what to you was kind of the biggest adjustment you felt like when you got there, from a not like off the court, but just on the court, playing with everybody?
Just building a little more muscle when I got there.
Yeah.
I felt like I had the heart, the speed, and the game to play, but when I got there, you looking at everybody and they like bigger and stronger and physical. I knew once I got there I was gonna have to put on at least a couple of pounds and muscle, not just pounds, just muscle.
Right. What now, okay, you were a scoring point guard, or you were like a scorer, but you obviously were your second leading scorer in the history of Illinois. So obviously you score a lot there, but as a scoring point guard and with Lou, what kind of adjustments to your game did you have to make from high school to college, just from the Lou standpoint, like what he wanted out of you and what you were used to doing in high school?
I think more. I think what they really tried to do at that time was slow it down a little bit more, which I was always getting up and down the court, and so me watching a flying line now, I'm like, shoot, we gonna be doing the same thing, getting up and down the court, stuff like that. But we had a whole bunch of shooters on the team that really didn't handle the ball as much, so it was more trying to get them shots, get them in the groove, and getting the ball down to Dion, which he was the main scorer.
Right.
So it was just trying to get it down to him and then try to run the offense a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, when you I guess before we get into all your stats stuff, what did you think of Coach Henson? How'd you guys get along? Did you what kind of relationship did you have with him?
You know what, man? We didn't get along on the court. Off the court was fine, but
Yeah.
I think on the court, we had discrepancies. So it was like, for me, like, I want to run the break. Like, if I get a rebound, I'm pushing the balls. They got to run with me.
Mm-hmm.
I forced people to run. That slow down game wasn't really me.
Yeah.
And so, being the point guard, I had to pass more and get my shots up more. Where in high school, I was getting my shots up, not because I was just shooting the ball. It's because we was pressing a lot, so I was able to get like steals and layups and shots and stuff like that. We was always clashing.
Yeah. I'm
Because
telling you
I
what,
wanted,
you're not the first person that's told me that, man. For you guys that I've been interviewing. It's like,
yeah,
because,
yeah.
you know, even like that Flying Illini team, I think that they could have went to a whole nother level as far as their athleticism. But I mean, he tried all he could to slow them down too. He just couldn't, you know, sometimes, but he tried to, you know. So, yeah, I know that he definitely pretty old school and things like that, and wanted to. I don't want to say robots, but he had an idea of where he wanted you to go and where you wanted to be, and that's what he expected and all that, you know. So.
Yeah, so, but other than that, man, everything else is fine, man. Like, off the court, you can go talk to him, and he was always available and
Yeah.
real cool. He was funny when he wasn't even, he didn't even know he was funny, but he was funny.
Exactly. Yes, I know what you mean. You got one story about him that kind of pops in your mind that's kind of funny that maybe not too many people know about?
Yeah, I always tell this one because it was so funny, man. So, I had just subbed out the game. I forgot who we was playing. I think we was playing against either Michigan State or Minnesota. And we was at home. Though. And so I had just filled out the game, and then, you know, a little bit of time went past, probably about a minute and a half or 2 minutes went past. And he came over, grabbed me, started walking me to the scores table, and was like, "Get in for Garris." And I'm like, "Coach, yeah, I am Garris."
I am Garris.
Because you know, like he was walking me to the thing, but he was trying to still pay attention to the game.
Yeah.
So I guess he was just like, he always calling my name, so it's like, you know,
Yes. Yeah.
so it was just like, "Get in for Garris," and I'm like, "Coach, I am Garris." He was like, "Well, get in for the point guard." I said, "Okay, I got you."
Yeah. Oh my. Yeah. Yeah, he was something else. And then, well, I mean, before we talk about that next part, but like those first 3 years with Lou, well, first of all, I'll brag on your stats a little bit here. So, because your freshman year, like, you know, there's not like much time of like adjustment. You were adjusted right away because you were averaged 15.9 your freshman year and 3.8 assists, 3.5 rebounds. So you're right away just one of the better point guards, even players in the conference. So, and then sophomore year, exact same point total, 15.9, and exact same assists, 3.8. So, and then junior year, 15.4 points, 3.9 assists, 3.4 rebounds. So extremely consistent, and again, one of the top players in the conference, like right off the bat. So, but then when you look at from a team standpoint, here you've got you made the tournament your freshman and sophomore years, correct?
Yeah.
Got beat in the first round. And then your junior year, you guys were 18 and 13, but didn't make the tournament. But so then you were there for Lou's last season. So whenever you heard that Lou was gone, and what was kind of going through your mind there when you heard that Lou was retiring and not coming back? And then, I mean, what kind of names were you hearing? What kind of rumors were going around about who the next coach might be and all that kind of stuff? Do you remember any of that?
Yeah. So the crazy part about that is, we really wasn't hearing it a lot. I think it was all of a sudden, man. They wanted to have like a team meeting, and when we had the team meeting, is like Coach Henson is stepping down, and the first thing everybody was thinking was Coach Collins was gonna get the job.
Mhm.
Which would have made sense, with everything he's done and recruiting wise and running around campus and stuff like that. He thought that would have been the first move, but from what I heard, I don't even think they considered hiring him. I just think they already knew or was in the process of hiring someone outside of that coaching staff. We didn't have no idea who it was gonna be, stuff like that, but that's when a lot of guys on the team was like, "Oh, I'm transferring. Oh, I can't believe they ain't give Coach Collins the job." And I'm like, "Shit, this is my senior year. I ain't going nowhere.
Right.
I can't do it."
Transferring's not like it is today. It was a pain in the butt back then to transfer. You had to sit out a year and everything else. Yeah.
Yeah, and so they ended up, I think probably about a couple of days later, they end up announcing that they hired Coach Kruger.
Yeah.
To the next coach. I ain't know nothing about him. I knew that one of the guys from Illinois, Dan Cross, at the time played for him, and they went to the Final Four. That's all I knew.
Right.
And then when we had like individual meetings and stuff like that, I think he got down on campus like 3-4 days later after they announced it. And so we end up talking. They say he was a guards coach, so I was like, shoot, cool. It was again back and forth stuff. He's telling me how he expected me to be the leader of the team and more vocal and expect a lot more from me. At the time, I'm like, man, let's see what he's talking about.
Yeah.
So when we got to all the workouts and getting ready for workouts and doing all that other stuff, I was just like, oh, okay, yeah. When workouts was intense, though. Like, individual workouts was intense. Team workouts was intense. Like, the 4-on-1s was intense. Like, it was just good stuff. And then he's always into conditioning, which was great. We did conditioning too with Coach Henson, but I'm talking about really into conditioning. Because the way his style of play was, it was just like, we going to play defense and we going to run.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, shoot, this is what I've been waiting on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
as people can see, all my numbers went up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, your senior year, 19.4 points, 5.6 assists. So, yeah, I was going to ask, like, how I've always looked at Coach Kruger as just a great, great coach, and I was just kind of wondering how you only had him for that 1 year, but overall, positive experience with Coach Kruger.
Yeah, it was. And I'm gonna tell you, we probably should have had him probably my sophomore year.
Yeah.
I just think the team was just going in another direction. But it was always good to play for Coach Henson because he was legendary. But I think like around that time, like my sophomore year, stuff like that, a lot of stuff was starting to change basketball wise. And I think if Coach Kruger would have came in my sophomore year, I probably would have put my name in the draft.
Yeah. Yeah, because, I mean, he And it was also the most successful season you had while you were there also, because you guys go 22-10 and make it to the second round of the tournament, but you're 11-7 in the conference, which was the best record out of your 4 years. And some of your teammates, for people that might not know, like I know them, but who are some of the guys you played with, that some of your favorite teammates you had there during that, and maybe even especially like maybe even like that last year, because that was a fun team to watch your senior year. So who are some of your teammates, for people that might not know?
Oh man, I'm gonna go down the line. So we had Shelly Clark come in.
Yep.
Freshman year.
Number 35, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember him.
Robert Bennett can jump out the gym.
Yes.
TJ was my brother, man. He was so crazy. That man used to come wake us up an hour or two before doggone we had morning workouts at 6 o'clock. I said, no, I can't mess with him no more. I don't know how he used to get in my dorm room or none of that, but he's always in there.
Yeah.
And then Richard King, that's my other guy, man. He was always inviting us to his little frat parties and stuff like that, but always was real cool, man. I called him Superman, because his hair was always slick, boy.
Oh yeah, he's got that frat boy look for sure.
Yeah, that was my guy. All my other guys, man. Kevin Turner, Brian Notry, Jared G, Jerry Hester. My boy Jelani, we always had battles in high school with Whitney Young. He played at Whitney Young. Who else? Who I'm missing?
I loved Hester. I saw him like all those manual guys, and he was kind of the first one before they went on that state championship run for 4 years in a row. But he was, I saw him play when he was like a senior against Chicago King in that Topper Classic at Danville, and he did like a spin move and dunked on the baseline on one of those big boys and just ran back down the court like nothing happened. And I was like, man, I love that, because there was no hooting and hollering at the crowd or anything. He just went down there and dunked on somebody and just ran back and got on defense, So that, I always loved Hester. He's real like no flash, no cocky or like that, but super athletic, and so.
Yeah, Jerry was my roommate, man. We was always together. That was like, me and him was like brothers.
Yeah.
It was all, and we had a good time, man. I wouldn't change it for the world. It was like one of the best experiences I ever had, man, as far as, at that age.
Right. Yeah. What was your favorite, okay, I'm going to do the same thing I did in high school. You got to pick one game, favorite game in college, if you had to pick one. And then maybe one from a team standpoint and one from an individual standpoint, I guess.
Okay, so I think the first one I'm gonna do team, and it's gonna be kind of my individual too.
Yeah,
it's the Duke game.
Yes.
At Cameron Indoor Stadium, man, it was like unbelievable how that arena is, man. You look at it on TV and you be like, man, this the big that place is big. Then you get in there, it's like, oh man, this is almost like Proviso West.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so, but it was historic. You know what I'm saying? Like they fixed that place up really well, man. So, going in there beating them when they was on almost like 1,000 game win streak against non-conference teams, my junior year. And then that game, man, I wasn't even supposed to play. I came off the bench, ended up scoring like 16 or something like that.
What'd you come off the bench for?
I actually had a growing pool, man. So I had missed like a few games. That's why Dion real lucky, man. I would have been an all-time lead scorer.
Yeah, yeah. What did you enjoy the border wars, and like, what do you think they like? Does it kind of disappoint you that a little bit of I mean, it still means a lot to the fans and stuff, but like, it used to be like a primetime game, and and now
man.
getting played at noon on a Sunday or Saturday or whatever. Like,
Yeah, we had that game when I was there all 4 years, man. We had that game sold up on ESPN at 7:30 at night.
that's right. You're right.
That boy
Yeah.
was lit. That boy was, man. I'm talking about everybody talked about that game. Even like alumni, ex-alumni from Missouri and stuff like that. Because, you know, you got a couple of guys that's from Chicago that played from Missouri back in the day. So they used to talk about the game. And I was like, ooh, it made you pump. You be pumped and ready to go for that game.
Right.
And it was around Christmas time, too. So it was just like, we in here. And
Yeah.
it was a battle. So yeah, that was definitely one of the games. I always talk about them games to my son too. I'll be like, man, you gotta have big rival games. You gotta go somewhere where you're gonna have them good big rival games. So it was good, man. That Missouri Illinois bragging rights game is still and I don't think it has the same feel, but you can still be looking forward to the games.
Right, I agree. Yeah, it's not what it used to be, but it's still good. I mean, it still means something to everybody.
Yeah.
So, anytime you have like a game though where the crowd split like 50-50, that's stuff like that.
Right.
It makes a great atmosphere. But we'll kind of finish up the Illinois stuff. Like, what's something your 4 years there? What's something like that you're most proud of, and maybe what's something that you wish would have went a little bit different?
I'm most proud of, again, all the relationships and stuff I built over my time there. Just my teammates, the coaching staff, some of them rest in peace. I still talk to Coach Coon sometimes. And it was just a great place at the time. I just wish, sometimes I always tell my son this as well. I be like, man, we had my freshman year coming in, we were supposed to have one of the top recruiting classes at the time. So it was me, Jerry Hester, Thomas Hamilton, and Kelly Thames was supposed to come. He ended up going to Missouri. And so I think if we had that group, man, come in and if Jamie Brandon was there and all that, I think it would have been kind of crazy to see what that team would have been like. So some of the guys that I wish would have came and played, I wish those guys to see like what would have happened,
Yeah, for sure. Well, Thomas Hamilton, he didn't go to college, and didn't he get like a cup of coffee with the Celtics or something, and then he played with the Celtics for a little bit, then that was done.
Yeah, he went to the Houston Rockets and then the Celtics.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, man, when he didn't want to come down for the bridge program that they did in the summertime for all the athletes, it was like, oh man. So I already knew once he didn't do that, he wasn't going to college.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, if you don't mind here, let's just move it along here. You're done with like 10 seasons. Because okay, well, first of all, you go to. I mean, I'm not going to get into overseas stuff yet because you do get to experience playing in the NBA. You play with the Nuggets in '97, '98, and then you play with the Magic in '99, 2000. So
Yeah.
maybe it doesn't matter how long you're there. Like you get to say something that 99.99% of people that play basketball don't get to say. So you got to play in the NBA. So maybe talk a little bit about how awesome that was and just kind of what that experience was like.
Oh yeah, nah. I had a great career after college, man.
Yeah.
Everybody, you have a lot of opinions on how your life's supposed to go, but sometimes it don't go the way you want it to go. My journey was my journey. I accepted it, and I ended up accomplishing a lot of more stuff than I ever did accomplish. So, coming out, I thought I was gonna get drafted. Should have got drafted. It was a couple of teams that was very interested in me at the time. I went to workouts. Before the draft with I think it was Miami, Milwaukee, Sacramento, the Clippers, and there was one more team. And so I for sure thought it was gonna be either the Clippers or Sacramento. Close, but they ended up going with somebody else. So the Clippers ended up going with James Collins out of Florida State, and
Okay.
then Sacramento, they ended up going with Anthony Johnson out of I think Anthony Johnson. He went to a school in South Carolina. And after that, I ended up getting a phone when the draft hit. After that, once I didn't get drafted, I ended up going to the Clippers for the whole summer to play with them in like the summer league and all that stuff. Stayed with them through veteran camp and everything, and then I was the last cut. And the reason why I was the last cut because they didn't know what to do with Pooh Richardson at the time, which was making a lot of money. So they didn't. The number of games was crazy back then. So after that, I ended up getting drafted to the Grand Rapids Hoops in the CBA. So I went there, played 5 games. After them 5 games, I get a phone call from my agent, and he was like, "Pack up, you about to go to Denver." So that's how I ended up in Denver. Stayed there. We ended up staying there. It was a good experience, man. Like just the charter planes and all, like the practices, like going to work out in the morning, lift weights, then practice, then shooting after. But you had the whole day to yourself because you practicing an hour and a half, but you really in the arena for like maybe 4 hours.
Yeah.
You got the whole day to yourself. You out of there by 12 or 1, and then start all over again. You get a chance to, relax, deal with some of your little injuries, knick-knack injuries. I ain't really had no injuries like that. So I thank God for that because I didn't have no major injuries. Thank God for my journey. And after that, I ended up going over to Germany, playing over there because it was a lockout after my first year.
Right.
So they had the lockout. We was about to get a new coach in Denver, and I was supposed to be re-upping my contract for another year. But I chose to go overseas because I didn't know how long that lockout was going to stand. Ended up staying until doggone January, beginning of January. I was like, nah, I'm glad I did come overseas. So I ended up going over, playing in Germany.
Is that Alba Berlin? Is that what I'm?
Yeah, Alba Berlin. Yep, Alba Berlin, and it was a great experience because I ended up meeting like Wendell Alexis and his family, and they was like, because Wendell played at Syracuse, and he was like one of the main guys over there at the time. I was always seeming to be able to play with like some of the best. Like he was like to me he was like a power forward. He reminded me of Tim Duncan.
Right.
Not as tall, but he can like, step out and shoot it a little bit. Nice post game. Always same way every game. There wasn't no phasing them, no nothing. Just always focused.
Right.
Ended up going there and winning the championship. Then I came back home, played with so I played with, before I went to Orlando, trying to think who I played with in the summer. Oh, played with Seattle in the summer league, which was, Seattle Supersonics at the time.
Yep.
And then that's how I ended up getting to. I went back to the CBA, played a couple more games, same way. Ended up getting called up to go play with Orlando. That year, Doc Rivers, it was his first year there.
Right. So see, okay, it's the people that the younger kids, like CBA basically is like the G League now. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
CBA was like the G League, but you wasn't getting paid that much. You was just there to hopefully get a call up, so you
Right.
don't have to be alone. And so after Orlando, I ended up going back overseas. I actually played in Italy the longest, but I played in Poland and Turkey, and then during the summer times I played in Venezuela and Puerto Rico. So my first 6-7 years, I was playing basketball nonstop.
Yeah.
And then after that, I started winding down. So I made Italy my home because Wendell Alexis played over in Italy, and he said, "Man, if you ever go to Italy and play, stay there." And so I took his advice, and that's what I did. I just stayed there. I played on all the top teams over there too, like Milan, Bologna, even Reggio Emilia, where Kobe Bryant was. You know, where they used to show us pictures of him when he was younger and stuff like that. Him and his dad.
I was gonna say too, real quick. Like I've talked to a few other guys who went overseas, and the seasons I had them kind of explain, but it's funny how different the seasons are over there than they are here. Because like I'm looking at your stats from like 04, 05 to 08, 09 over there. It's like got 31 games, 20 games, 34 games, 34 games. You know, so it's almost like a college season, like the length of it, as far as how many games you play. But like, maybe if you can kind of briefly explain how different that is. I mean, okay, and also too, it says here, like what dictates if you stay on the same team or go to a different team, like overseas compared to here?
Oh man, overseas was totally different experience, basketball wise and business wise.
Yeah.
So what people don't understand is when you go to these teams and they pick you, and you go to these teams, they're expecting you to actually like be the man. You got to score points. You got to do whatever you can to win games. And even in the rival games, you got to win those games. you get judged off all those games. So I was fortunate to play on like EuroLeague teams and stuff like that. So we played twice a week. Other people, like if you wasn't in the EuroLeague or anything like that, you was playing once a week. That was either on Saturday or Sunday. When I was playing in the EuroLeague, we played during the week on like a Tuesday or Wednesday, and then played on Saturday and Sunday. So if you see like 34 games and all that, that was like EuroLeague plus the league games in that country. Totally, basketball was different because it was a combination of college and pro.
Yeah.
So the shot clock wasn't 30 seconds, it was 24 seconds. And the line was closer than the NBA line, right? And you can actually, if the ball is on the cylinder, you can slap the ball out, right? I had to adjust to all that stuff when I got over there. Business-wise, you're getting paid monthly. It ain't check on the 1st and the 15th, like when I was in the league and all that stuff. It was getting paid monthly, so you're playing a full season now. They can hold your check and all types of stuff.
Huh.
So if y'all ain't playing good, y'all on a losing streak or anything like that, man, I had friends in Greece that was playing. They didn't get paid not one check for like 4 or 5 months.
Wow.
So I
hadn't heard that one yet. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you go over there and you on that type of team where they can just hold your money like that, if you leave without getting that money, you ain't getting that money.
Huh.
So that's why a lot of them stayed. They were like, nah, I can't leave, man, because they actually got to pay you. So
yeah.
At some point, they ain't got to pay you right away, but they got to pay you at some point. So I think that scared a lot of people, like players, off from going overseas.
Yeah.
But if you go into the right leagues, right teams, you can actually make a living overseas. So you're playing against some of the top, some of the top younger kids too as well. So like when I got over there, I played against like Mano Ginobili and all these guys. They was in Italy. My first year was Germany. They was in Italy already. They was playing for Bologna at the time. They had a squad too. I think actually Rashad Griffin was on that team in Italy. Yeah.
Yeah. So he. Yeah. I'm assuming. I figured his whole career is over there. But it's funny how I think when Dion was on here, he was talking about, and like Michael Finke said the same thing. It's just everybody's different, and you go over there and have a very comfortable living and be the man and just enjoy playing basketball. And it's like, and people, I think that when you're young and kind of ignorant to all the just basketball in general, you just think that it's NBA or bust and stuff like that. But it's like, but there's a ton of, they both said there's a ton of guys over there that can play in the NBA. They just don't, they just are more comfortable over there, and the game's a little bit different. And I think the NBA's kind of caught up with it, like the way it's played overseas, and things like that. But like, there's no reason why you can't go over there and just be perfectly happy and make a ton of money and just enjoy your life. And that's why a lot of guys do that. And I think that's smart. I mean, instead of just trying to fight and scrap over here, not knowing, waiting on a phone call to get called up and things like that, just go play 30 minutes a night and average 15, 16 points a game and make good money and enjoy yourself,
Yeah, I always talk to guys, man, and they be like, man, what was your experience like? And like I told them, I said, look, you gotta know what you want for yourself. For me, it was, I want to play. I want to just be sitting on the bench and not doing anything. I want to play. So when you get an opportunity to play, you got to take advantage of it. And overseas was one of those places where I got an opportunity to really play. I got a chance to play with Marco Bellinelli before he got drafted.
Mm-hmm.
I had to play with Danilo Gallinari before he got drafted. And what they was doing was they used me as a mentor because I played in the NBA. They used me as a mentor to them, and they was like my roommates on the road and all that stuff. So it was a whole bunch of benefits to all that stuff, man, when you get over there, because you gain the respect of the country and the league and all that. And so I just gained that. Like when I went over there, it was business. I was on time. I left late after practice. Same stuff I was doing that when I was in the NBA, and in college, I did the same stuff over there. They asked me to come do an appearance or anything like that. I ain't get nobody no lip or anything. I was there. So, to a lot of these younger guys that's like, I was ranked in high school and all that stuff, and then they went to college and all this other stuff, and then they're not sitting there thinking, man, I was the man, so they got to bow down to me. Nah, ain't nobody bowing down to you overseas. You
Right.
gonna have to bow down to them because they gonna gotta pay your check. You gotta perform, and if you don't perform, you don't get a check.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think that.
But it's great. It's great living, though. I mean, if you do it, if guys do it right, man, you can have a successful living over there, and you can get it's a way to get passports and everything, and you can be like a dual citizenship, especially if you got like grandparents or anything like that. That's another nationality.
Right. Gotcha. Well, I mean, when you first went over there, though, culture shock, huge. Okay, off getting used to living off the court. How was it like? Holy shit! Like this is this is crazy, or was it? Or how long did it take to get used to all that?
It took a minute. It took a minute to adjust, man. Like you get over there and you realize like you can't. One, it's a time difference from here to there, so I think it was like a 7 or 8 hour time difference from over there to the States. Then going to the grocery stores and trying to get food for the apartment and stuff like that. That was another one. Never drove a stick before.
Yeah.
I ended up learning how to drive a stick over there. Manual car. What else? Shoot, a nightlife and like going out and being able to go to restaurants and stuff like that. Now in Germany they had in Germany, in Berlin, they had like some American restaurants, but I tried to experience the other restaurants that they had as well. language barrier was learning the language. For me, German was hard, man. German was hard to learn. Italy was a little bit easier. Polish was kind of hard too. Polish, that was kind of hard too. But I had a good person that was, giving me little words here and there to learn to get by in Polish. And Turkey too, man. Turkey was fun though. Istanbul was fun. But yeah, man, just some of them things, man. You get to learn. You once you start getting out there overseas, man. And I was driving all over the place. When I was in Italy, though, I drove all over the place. Like I drive from Bologna to Milan or Montegranario to Bologna. Like I was just driving. It was almost like I was at home when I was in Italy because they make it like that.
Really? That's really cool.
Yeah.
Do you think about it? It's just like when you're growing up, you said you just want to play ball. Like, okay, they're playing ball at this park, they're playing ball at this park. You just go play ball. So it's like, hey, if it's Turkey, Italy, Germany, let's just go play ball. It's the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really great. Well, to me, it's like, your basketball career was a huge success because you were extremely successful college player and a very, very successful professional career. And so it's something you ought to definitely be proud of. But whenever, if you don't mind, maybe letting people know, like, what you've been up to since your playing days a little bit, what you're up to now. And if you want to talk about your son a little bit and what a stud he is as a basketball player too, you can talk about him. But after your playing days, what you been up to since?
So I've been through a lot of stuff. So started coaching and running camps. I actually coached 2 years at Prairie State Junior College. And then I ended up doing like camps and then starting my own nonprofit organization, which is still running right now today. We do a lot of our work we do is in Chicago. I do like an all-star game every year. This year is gonna be the 10th year of it. And what we do is we try to get a lot of the best of Illinois players, high school players, 8th grade, and have them come play against each other in this all-star game. We also do like after-school programs as well. One of our programs is called One Pass Ahead, which means we're always thinking ahead and trying to help the next generation and guiding them to being successful and following their dreams. Then here in Georgia, where we live now, focused on basketball training, and I coached 2 years of high school when I got down here, and this year I said I was gonna try something different, so now I've been officiating.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man, I've been officiating like middle school and high school, so that's been a treat.
Okay. So, what's that like? When the shoe's on the other foot, like what's that? People getting on your ass about stuff and everything. Like, is it? And as a player, and then being on the other side of that, what's that been like?
You know what, man? I always like when I coach, man. I always wanted to respect the refs.
Absolutely, yes.
And so what I do with refs is, man, I talk to them like they normal people. Like if we was like sitting there, I'll be like, all right, ref, man, what did he do on that foul? And then I tell my player like, yo, this is what he says you did, so make sure you got your hands up next time, or stop reaching, or whatever the ref said at the time. And then the ref will come with me at the end of the game and be like, man, thank you. We be having some of these coaches, they don't know what the hell they be talking about or doing.
That's exactly right. Yeah, and you as a coach too, you never blame the refs to the players, because that just gives them an excuse or a crutch. You know, like if they get beat, they can always blame the refs. Like you don't be blaming the refs.
Yeah. Let me blame the refs after the game, and I won't even say nothing to you. I'll just go home and sit there and be like, dang, that ref made that one call. It changed the game.
Right, exactly.
But then now officiating though, man, I do the same thing. Like I hear a coach going off, I be like, look, I explain the call to you if you calm down. If you don't calm down, I can't explain the call to you. So I try to build a relationship with them that way. That way, you know.
Have you teed anybody up?
Yeah. Have I? You know what? I was close to teeing somebody up, and then I was like, look, man, I don't want to tee you up, so I need you to just sit down. Give me about 5 minutes sitting down, because you keep yapping at me. I'm gonna give you a text. Yeah,
that's funny.
So he was like, all right, then, fine. I said, good. We good now. And then he got up. It was a call. I think he called a timeout or something. I said, you want to talk about this? Or he was like, yeah. So he ended up talking to me, and he was like, all right, okay, I understand. I said, yeah, man. I said, we can get through this game real easy. Y'all can have a good game. We can let the players and y'all dictate the game. I said, you don't want me to dictate the game, because I'm going to call a whole bunch of fouls and we'll be here all day. He was like, no, I got to get home. I said, I bet you do got to get home. Me too.
That's right. That's good. Yeah, that's something I don't think I'd ever want to do it. It's a thankless job.
Yeah, man, you gotta have I think I mastered this a long time ago, man, where I was always patient and I always gave people the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
So, you know, you never know what people are going through that day, or how the trip, like if they was the road team, they coming through, they probably had a flat tire, something happened, they didn't get a chance to eat. Like, you don't never know what's going on. So if you see people acting up, you can't just jump to a conclusion and say, man, this coach is terrible. He always yelling.
Right.
You might have that type of coach, or it might be a coach where they just had a bad day. Now he's just trying to get his team through this game and get himself through this game, because, you know, he ain't really there.
Right.
So it's just never know what's going on. So that's why I never jump to the conclusions of, man, this guy trash or terrible or this and that.
Right.
It's just, all right, let's weed this out. Let's weed this out.
That's just life in general, man. Like, you know, when you don't know what kind of day somebody's having or anything like that. Like taught like at grade school, if a kid comes in a bad mood, like, you don't know what's happening before school, or you don't know anything like that. So, you know what I mean? So
don't know they living conditions or nothing. You just like,
right.
Right.
Yeah. That's great that you're a ref. And so, your son is he a senior this year?
He is a senior. Right now he's committed to Cal State Fullerton, man, which is awesome. Great. He's been playing awesome this year. He's on one of the top teams in the country, number one team in Georgia. I think he he might be the first or second lead scorer on the team, rebounding, assists, shooting like 50-some% from the field, 40-some from the three, like 85 or 86 from the free throw line. Might be higher because he just went one game 11 for 11. So, man, been good, man. I'm surprised Illinois didn't try to pull the trigger on him. He's 6'5", but you know.
Is he 6'5"?
Yeah, he's 6'5".
Yeah.
Yeah, so can shoot the ball, lights out, but
hey, you know the way it is now though, with all this stuff going on, all this craziness, like you go to where you're going first, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's got to be the last place you end up. With the way that things are now, man, it's like, but you go to Cal State.
That's how it goes, man.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. But like I told him, man, you got to go where you want it, and you got to go where you're going to get an opportunity to play.
Right.
Some of them things are important, and if you can go somewhere where the coach like you and you're going to get a chance to play and they need you, then you're going to be that much successful to go to a college that you really wanted to go to at the time. I said the times changed. I said if you weren't going D1 back then when I was playing, they just was like, you going to junior college, and if you go to junior college, some of them was like, I ain't going to school. I'm done. And that's how you lost a lot of players.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean now it's, you know, like I said, he goes there and you're not encouraging anybody to train, but it's just like, you know, you could just make the most of where you are at the time. If you like it there, keep playing there, and if you get an opportunity to move up the ladder, then take it, you know. But I usually finish these off by having my son's in the second grade, and he likes to ask all you guys like a question, but I just opened up the door and looked, and he's like completely asleep. So I guess he's not going to. He's passed out. But I know he was going to ask you who your favorite player was growing up, though. And I told him, I'm like, look, he's from Chicago. He's going to say, he said team first. I'm like, he's going to say Bulls, so don't even ask him that one. And he was like, and I said, you should ask him who his favorite player was growing up, but he's not allowed to say Jordan. So I think that's what he was going to ask you. So what would you?
Tell him right now. I've been stuck with LeBron James. But when I was growing up, I had a few players that I like took moves from. So like, for instance, Magic Johnson had this one move where he come through the middle. He dribbling and coming through the middle, and he used to put it over his head and bring it back through and make a layup. I stole that from him. Then dribbling and all that I got from Isaiah Thomas and Tim Hardaway.
Tim Hardaway, he was tough.
Yeah, and then I used to love Andrew Toney from the Philadelphia 76ers. He could shoot the ball, man.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a deep dive there. That's a good one. Yeah, I remember him. Yeah,
like I just used to watch players and see what they moves were and see how successful they used to get them shots off, and then it'll be like, I'm using that move. That move work all the time.
Yeah. I know he's always. That's the problem. Like, you know, he's 8 years old and everything, so he's always got all these moves. But it's like, he loves Steph, and I'm like, man, don't try to mimic him, man, because that's just gonna give you bad habits. It's like, well, everybody wants to go 30 feet out and start shooting. Like, I told him, like, you need to start in and work your way out. You know, like keep your form, and as soon as you start heaving it, then you're out too far. So get back in. You know, it's like, yeah. But man, with Steph, it's just like everybody thinks they want to dribble 12 times and shoot a 28-footer. You know, it's like that's not how the game works. He's just a little different.
we changed it up with that, boy, because everybody thinks they can shoot. I
Yeah.
was like, man.
Right. I agree. Well, man, this has been great. You're a great guest. I will keep you posted on when it's going to come out and everything. But yeah, I just want to thank you for coming on, man. That was great. And if you want to hop on there and listen, I've had Dion on there and Bruce Douglas and Liberty and there's a lot. I got a lot more getting ready to come out. So
All right.
honored to have you on, man.
Man, I appreciate you thinking about me, man. It's been an honor. It's been an honor.
All right, cool, man. I'll keep in touch. Thanks a lot, man.
All right. Appreciate it.
All right. We'll see you.
Yeah.